All right. Hey guys, Sanch here. Welcome back to another episode on the Bodybuilding News Network. Now, after doing that George Peterson video, my throat completely took a bomb. So I apologize for the audio, but the show must go on. I'm going to be doing a three-part series here with my predictions for the Mr. Olympia in the Open, the 212, and the Classic Physique. So if you're interested in something like that, make sure you smash that like button and consider subscribing. But let's go ahead and go through the complete scorecard of all of the competitors that are qualified either by winning their respected pro show or qualifying off of points. We did have three competitors qualifying on points. One of them was unable to attend for visa issues. So just putting that out there so you know. But let's go ahead and start off at the top of the list, James Hollingshead. Now, James Hollingshead is one of these guys, very exciting story behind him and how he has really traveled through all these adversities. He's pushed through all these challenges. And then actually he qualified very, very early for this year's Mr. Olympia last year at the British Grand Prix. And then he took that entire year off the competitive calendar because he already qualified and came into this year's Mr. Olympia. So he's one of those guys that we haven't seen on stage in just a little bit, but we're very excited to see what he looks like and what he's been able to do with his physique coming into this year's Olympia. Now, I'll go ahead and just go through the competitors list before I give you guys my predictions. And next on the list is Regan Grimes. Now, Regan Grimes is going to be one of those guys that it's going to be very tough placing him until we see him on stage. He has all the muscle that he needs to do very well at any show, to be in a top three of any show. But at the Olympia, it seems to be that the tail of the tape for this young competitor is that he doesn't always come in as conditioned as the judges would like to see him. And that has consistently, historically, affected his placings. So I want to see Regan Grimes in this top 10. We'll find out where I place him, but he is our second competitor on this list. Next on the list is the reigning Mr. Olympia, Big Ramee. Now, Big Ramee, after really dialing it in with the conditioning and the posing with his coach and trainer, Dennis James, from last year's Mr. Olympia, has been prepping and has been very, very focused on bringing winter again in this 2022 or 2021 Mr. Olympia. And I feel like everyone is very excited for Big Ramee. Everyone wants to see Big Ramee be the best that he can be, looking at the most recent physique updates that he has on his Instagram. He looks fantastic. He looks big. He's always been big. You can see, my big critique for him was I always really want to see that muscle separation, muscle maturity. I know Fuad's most recent podcast, if you haven't seen that with his coach, Dennis James, I definitely recommend you check it out. But Big Ramee has only been competing for 11 years. And of those 11 years, he's been at six, I believe he said, six Mr. Olympia competitions. Now, that puts a lot of work on that body. And in Ramee's situation, they've been saying that his muscle hasn't had the opportunity to mature as much as maybe someone like a mutant like Nick Walker. So there's always going to be those outliers, but Big Ramee's strategy is to improve on last year's conditioning and fullness, bringing more muscle separation. And if he does so, I believe that he can walk away with a repeat two-time Mr. Olympia. Speaking of two-time Mr. Olympian, Brandon Curry is wanting to also have that title, and he has done what he can during these trying times to bring the best shape that I believe we will ever see of Brandon Curry. I've been a critique, in my opinion, and honestly, I've been a critique of Brandon Curry in the past, but I found to really appreciate his physique just as I was always a critic of Phil Heath until Phil Heath stepped away. And then I realized how badly the sport needed him and wanted him, and how I appreciated him. So I have become a big fan of Brandon Curry as an athlete and as a man. He seems to be very well spoken and very enjoying to listen to. So definitely consider binging his content when you get a second. But Brandon Curry is also hot on the tail for the 2021 Mr. Olympia title. Another competitor that we will see in that first call out potentially, right? Potentially. We'll save it till the end. But Hadi Chupan is the next competitor on the list. We're very, very excited to see what Hadi Chupan is going to bring it to the stage this year. He hasn't posted any crazy physique updates that we would really like to see. A lot of photo, not Photoshop, but photo situations, photo shoots. He's posted a lot of stuff like that, and it does give you an idea of like the conditioning, the separation. He looks fantastic. He looks amazing, world class. But I wish I could just see just a little bit more of a complete physique update from the People's Champ, the reigning People's Champ, Hadi Chupan. But he's coming into this Mr. Olympia. I know Nick Miller over at Nick Strength and Power has said that he believes that Hadi Chupan will be the Mr. Olympia someday. But the question I want to leave for you guys is, do you think that that day is this weekend in 2 days? Do you think Hadi Chupan has what it takes to knock off somebody like Big Ramee and keep off the trail someone like a Nick Walker or somebody like a Brandon Curry who is hungry to take back his title? Let me know down below. Another competitor that has gone through some adversity this year is William Bonak. Now, we didn't get to see him defend his title, his two-time Mr. Classic, wow, Arnold Classic Ohio Championship title, two-time. We didn't get to see that this year with the travel restrictions and whatnot. He was unable to attend and compete, but he is here. He is at the Mr. Olympia, and he is hungry to prove, it seems, everyone wrong. Everyone, and potentially even myself, has said that William Bonak's years, the best years, are behind him in terms of competition. A lot of people have said that his physique is capped out and he can't make any more improvements in muscle. I think that that's a valid critique, but I do think that there are things that William Bonak can do to make his physique more competitive. You know, he could shrink some areas to allow better proportions and a better illusion of that physique. I think that's definitely possible. But we will see in 1 day's time, tomorrow night, for the prejudging of Men's Open. Next on the list, Justin Rodriguez, one of those guys that I feel like historically and consistently is overlooked. He has a very beautiful physique, but he also is young. And I feel like he doesn't have the separation to really battle in that top six. But, you know, if he were to surprise me and prove me wrong, I would be very, very happy. But Justin Rodriguez is also competing here, the reigning Indy Pro champ in the Men's Open. So we're very excited to see him come and fight and compete and try to stay in that top 10. But what do you guys think about Justin Rodriguez? Do you think he is going to stay in that top 10, or do you think there's a possibility that he could fall out of that top 10? Let me know. And you know, probably, in my opinion, I think he's going to get the People's Champ is Nick Walker. Now, Nick Walker being the current 2021 Arnold Classic Ohio champ, and also the New York Pro champ. he has a lot of momentum of winning those massive shows coming into this Mr. Olympia weekend. And he also has a lot of hype behind the fans in general. People seem to really enjoy the mutant Nick Walker, including myself, although my voice is probably monotone at this point because it's destroyed. I'm a huge fan of Nick Walker. His physique is amazing. I'd like to see his midsection get smaller, but it is what it is for now. I'm just very excited to see. I'm just excited for the show, and I'm sure you guys are as well. But where do you think Nick Walker is going to land? Do you think he's going to land in that top 6? Do you think he's going to land in that top 4? Let me know. I'll let you guys know my predictions at the end of this video. Patrick Moore. Now, if you guys have not seen Mark's Max Muscles prediction video, that was pure comedy. You got to check it out. I'm not going to spoil it, but Patrick Moore. Now, he's one of those guys. The physique is just so different from everyone else on the stage. I don't know if he's going to get overlooked in a bad way or if he's going to get looked at in a good way. He's going to get a good look from the judges because his physique doesn't compare well to everyone else. Sometimes that hurts athletes, sometimes it rewards athletes. But we will find out tomorrow on how the judges view Patrick Moore's physique, the current Cali Pro champ. And the next one, Akeem Williams. Now, Akeem Williams, he lost a lot of hype coming out of that Arnold Classic. He placed in that top 6 last year at the Olympia. He was I guess you wouldn't say a medalist, but he placed in the top 6. So he was in that first call out. He was on stage. A lot of hype for him coming into the 2021 competitive season. And since the Arnold Classic, I feel like all of that hype has gone. He just didn't show up in the shape that we wanted to see Akeem. And for history, Akeem comes in more out of or off. Not 100%. Let's say that. I don't want to say out of shape because that's just disrespectful for such an elite caliber athlete. But he always seems to just kind of miss the mark. And with him switching to a new coach this 2021 season, it did seem to affect him, or maybe something else happened. We don't really know. But Akeem Williams will be at the Olympia. Probably expect to see him in that top 10, but it's really hard to say. And a newcomer making his Olympia debut, and several of these athletes are making their Olympia debut, is Andre Presti. Now, this guy did really well overseas in the European circuit. I wish we could say the Grand Prix, but it is what it is. It's not the 90s or the early 2000s anymore. But it's kind of tough for him. If he doesn't get last, I think that's going to be a win for him. If he were to crack into the top 10, I think that's a really good placing for him. From most of my understanding, at least in the last 24 months, he hasn't really stood next to crazy calibered athletes when we talk about Olympia level athletes. So this will be a good test to see where Andre is going to stand against the rest of the pack here at the Olympia. Hunter Labrada, another one of those young athletes, has a very exciting and bright future ahead of him here in the IFBB in this pro league. Coming into his second Olympia after his pro debut last year, rocking the Chicago Pro, rolling into the Olympia, placing top 10. I think he's going to have a little bit harder of a time pushing into that top 6 this year. It is a very heavy lineup, although we don't have some competitors like a Phil Heath or like a Sean Roden. We don't have those guys, but it's still going to be a very, very competitive lineup. And I think Hunter Labrada should be, if he can place the same as last year, I think that'd be a win in his book. Although I'm sure he's wanting to fight to get into that first call out. Another competitor that I feel like is going to be fighting for that first call out is Ian Valliere. Now, he has a lot of hype behind him, and looking at some of the new photos that have come out, I I want to take, I can't take back what I said because it's true. When you look at the live stream, the conditioning, the separation, the dryness, it doesn't come through. It doesn't translate into the live stream and into a lot of footage that you've seen. But when you look at the still photos, when you look at shots taken from where the judges are sitting, it really does tell a different story of Ian Valliere. His physique is world class. He placed top 2 at the Arnold Classic. He won the Texas Pro this year. He's won, I'm trying to draw on a blank here, the Tampa Pro, I believe it was. He won the Tampa Pro as well. And he's just such a mesmerizing physique, athlete, man, person, that I think that he's going to do well at this Olympia. He has the fire, the wind in his sails that someone like an Akeem has lost. And I think that he's going to do well. And although, maybe he might not be as high as in my prediction as where he thinks he might be, I still think he's going to do very, very well. But we'll leave it there. We're almost to the predictions, guys. Next up, Rolly Winkler. Now, Rolly, can't say too much here for this guy. We had a lot of excitement for him this year. He didn't do as well as we would have liked to see from the beast, and potentially kind of how Mark was saying in his video. Check that one out if you haven't seen it already. But it's potentially could be his better years in terms of his physique are behind him. He's going to have to do a lot of work to come back. He's going to have to do a lot of work to bring that conditioning in the separation. It just hasn't been there, and that's what we really need to see from Rolly. He's always been big. He's always been freaky. He's been a beast, but we need the conditioning and we need the separation for Rolly to crack probably into that top 8 this year. And nearing the end, for point qualifications, we have Mohammed Shaban. Now, I know some people have said that Mohammed Shaban could be the dark horse for this year at this year's Olympia. Now, we'll have to stay tuned for the end of the video so I can let you guys know who my dark horse is. But Mohammed Shaban is competing. He did a lot of shows. I'm worried that he's a little burnt out just from how many shows he did have to do to get the points. But he will be here, and he will be here to compete. And another competitor, kind of the same situation, the same story, Hassan Mustafa, a freak in all aspects. I love this guy's physique. I want to see the best from him. I want to see that conditioning and the separation. And it seems like looking at this physique update, he looks really, really good. He looks separated, but as soon as he puts that tan on, as soon as he gets on stage, everything seems to wash away. So, potentially looking at this September 25th photo for the Arnold, he must have peaked perfectly, but it didn't translate on stage. And it seems to be that's the tail of the tape for Hassan Mustafa, at least in the current year, 2021. Now, guys, let's go ahead and look at my top 10 prediction. Now, let's go ahead and start off with my 10th place. Now, I know I don't want you guys to go too crazy with this because I've put some thought into it, but it's really going to be interesting on how it lays out. But this is going to be kind of my rough prediction until we see prejudging, and then I'll let you guys know what I'm thinking then. But starting off with 10th place, I think Andrea Presti could actually surprise us and place in the top 10. I've already said a lot about all these competitors, so I don't want to waste your time. In 9th place, I think Hunter Labrada is going to come in 9th. He, again, I've talked about it already. In 8th place, Justin Rodriguez. I think Justin's going to place 8th. Ian Valliere. Now this one could be tricky because he could place all the way up into 5th potentially, in my opinion, if the judges see what they've been seeing. So I have Ian Valliere at 7th. I have James Hollingshead at 6th. Very excited to see how he compares against these guys with all this new muscle he's put on. In 5th place, I think William Bonak is going to fall to 5th. Again, I kind of talked about how he might need to take some time off to make the corrections to be more competitive at the Olympia. But I have William Bonak potentially in 5th place. Nick Walker, I have Nick Walker in 4th. I think Nick Walker has done enough to really cement himself in that top 4 at this year's Olympia, unless something crazy happens. But based off of the footage we saw literally today, I think he has what it takes to get into this top 4 and potentially even the top 3. Now, I'm going to put Brandon Curry in 3rd, but gosh darn it, I really think Brandon Curry could surprise all of us and win this one. But I'm going to put Brandon Curry in 3rd, which obviously puts Hadi Chupan in 2nd. Again, one of those guys that actually could win. I feel like everyone in the top 4 could actually win the Olympia if Ramee comes in just a little bit off. And obviously, big Ramee in 1st place. I think that he, like I said, if he comes in at least a little bit improved from last year, it's his Olympia to lose. Now let's talk about our dark horse for the Open as we conclude this video. If you guys have enjoyed it so far, please subscribe. I really would appreciate just seeing that support. And then like the video if you enjoyed this Open breakdown of the lineup and my predictions with my completely destroyed voice. And then I'm going to take some NyQuil and go to bed. And then my dark horse. So I'm guessing you can guess. Can you guess what my dark horse pick is? Have you guessed? Comment below what you guys think my dark horse prediction is. It's Regan Grimes. I think Regan Grimes is my dark horse pick to place in this top 10. He's been soft, like I've said, but I think that if he does what he needs to do, and he's taken all this time after that early qualification at the Romania, he's had all this time to get it right. And you know, if he messes this one up and he doesn't come in as sharp, just like a Derek Lunsford, if Derek doesn't come in, same story, guys. I will not give Regan another chance unless I see it in photos. So I have Regan Grimes as my dark horse pick for the Men's Open, potentially in the top 10. Potentially, I could see him knocking off Andrea Presti. I could see him challenging Hunter Labrada, Justin Rodriguez, and then it gets really dicey. But I think Regan Grimes could place all the way up to 8th place at this year's Olympia if he just does what he needs to do, as I spit on my mic. But that's it, guys. I really appreciate you guys sticking in with me. Again, I'm sorry about the voice. It is what it is. It is what it is. I will take some NyQuil and see if it'll heal up for tomorrow, because we have a lot of Olympia coverage coming tomorrow. I did switch out my mic, if you did notice. I have this massive big Yeti Classic. It's just really not working for me. I've also changed the layout of the room, as you can see, and I got to kind of perfect the lighting. As you can see, my big light boxes, I got to perfect the lighting. But I hope you enjoyed this coverage. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown. I'll see you guys in the morning. Well, actually, it'll be closer in the afternoon for me, but I'll see you guys in the morning for, I believe it is the fitness that starts off tomorrow. So fitness and then 212. So I'll see you guys in the morning. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you then.